Hey clowns, welcome to Crimelia Street. I'm Sam.
And I'm Tori.
And I'm Shoshana.
We have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Shoshana.
Or show. Or the life of a show girl. S-H-O.
It really, truly came to me in the moment. It was such a magical,
Chef's kiss.
eye-opening realization.
Amazing. And we all have showgirl themed names. Sam is bitchin' and wishin'.
I just love that line in Opalite. Or wait, no.
Wood.
I was going to say, yeah.
I also love that line.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Opalite is on my mind, but also wood.
I truly love Jason comparing himself to a Japanese maple and them just like riding that out. It's so funny. Kylie Kelsey officially today changed her bio to big fan of Japanese maples.
Wow.
Love
That's
her.
Special.
I love her.
Yeah.
Tori, which variation of honey are you? Are you the good, the sweet kind of honey, or are you the southern kind of bless your heart kind of honey?
Oh, honey.
You can call me honey if you want. That one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you're the one I want.
Yeah.
I can subscribe to that. Mm-hmm.
I also want to introduce my Lumi beverage here, only
I wanted
because
to ask.
these are part of our spoils that Crimelia Street won at our trivia. Well, we won second place, but we held it down in first place the entire time. It was only that last question. Every trivia has the last question. It's like you can bet like a ton of points on it, and it's super hard. And the people who got it were in like sixth place, and they just like guessed and ended up getting it right and bet everything because they were like, we're not going to win anyways. So they beat us by, what was it, 5 points? Yeah.
Yeah, it was something stupid. And yeah, they're like
a little sour about it.
Like, we just guessed. We had no idea.
We did too sometimes.
Okay, cool. We did, but I think for the most part.
We did. Yeah, we actually surprised ourselves. That was fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for the next trivia event. So we have Shoshana on tonight, and she has a podcast of her own too called Doubling Down. Do you want to talk about it for a minute?
Yeah, we have been on a bit of a hiatus, but we are planning hopefully towards the next month or so into the new year, getting back into it. It's primarily a parenting podcast with plenty of stories about parenting twins and being a new parent in general. And parenting has been doing its thing about 18 months to 24-month-olds. So, yeah, toddlers are an experience. But yeah, we talk all things like current events. I usually give a little bit of a brain dump on whatever thing I'm firmly doubling down on that week, usually political, but I try to not align my podcast too much with my views. Though, you know what I mean.
It happens.
We get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to not align, but anyways, I digress.
Right. It just naturally happens, so it's fine.
So
I love it. I the doubling down one I remember was on goldfish flavors. That was the doubling down segment, right?
Yeah, and Aaron is
like,
incredibly wrong.
I agree. Yeah, his favorite was like the flavor blasted, and it gets your hands all dusty, and that's just it's incorrect.
Are we OG people?
Are you not?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got defensive.
Yeah. Like an OG goldfish is all I truly need. Anytime I navigate away from that, it's not what we're looking for.
It's a mistake.
I do like the pizza, but not the flavor blasted.
I was going to say the pizza.
Okay, we said we were going to make this quick, and we haven't. per usual. But
dilly and dallying.
Yes. As one does.
1 or 3. We should get into the sad stuff.
Okay.
This case has puzzled investigators, journalists, and true crime followers for nearly 2 decades. A man was stabbed while staying the night at a trusted friend's home. There were 3 people in the home when this happened. We have no motive, a very tight timeline, and more questions than answers. So tonight we are talking about the case of Robert Wone. Have you guys heard of this at all?
No.
No.
Okay. I also had not. Let's talk about Robert and who he was. You can pull up photos 1 and 2. He's handsome.
He is.
Yeah. Just this guy smiling next to his computer.
Robert was born in June of 1974 in Manhattan and raised in Brooklyn. He was 4th generation Chinese American. Robert also was super smart. He graduated as valedictorian from his high school and went on to attend college at William and Mary, which is considered a super prestigious school known for its academics. Robert went on to tour William and Mary with his parents when he was a senior in high school, and he met a guy named Joe Price, who was their tour guide. And Joe was a junior at William and Mary at the time. Robert also chose to shadow someone before attending the school, and Joe ended up being, just like by total coincidence, the person. It was like a random draw thing, and Joe ended up being the person that he shadowed. So from there, Robert ends up going to William and Mary, and Robert and Joe become fast friends. At William and Mary, Robert earned the status of a James Monroe Scholar, and the way you become a James Monroe Scholar was by demonstrating academic excellence, intellectual engagement, and community involvement. Fewer than 10% of undergrads receive that designation, so it's a big deal to get it. And it's like at this super like academic school too, so being in the top like 10%, I feel like, says a lot. So super smart guy. Robert and Joe shared extracurriculars together, such as student government, the Honor Society, and something called the 13th Club, which was a secret society at William and Mary that focused on doing random acts of kindness. It's just so cool. Okay, so they were in like the secret society together in student government and just became quick friends. Joe was a senior when Robert was a freshman, but they remained friends even after Joe graduated. Robert graduated in 1996 from William and Mary and went on to University of Pennsylvania Law School, where he graduated in 3 years in 1999. Which, isn't that quick for law school, 3 years?
Seems
I would
pretty
say
quick.
so.
I thought it was 4.
Yeah, I thought it was like 4 and could be like 6. Anyways, good for him. Super smart.
They're cute. Wait, are they a couple? Did I miss that?
No, they're not a couple. They're just good friends.
I ship it.
Yeah. Robert began a successful law career working first as a law clerk, and then went on to work in real estate law for a firm called Covington and Burling. In 2002, Robert met Kathy. The weekend after meeting her, he went back to his friends and told them that he felt like he'd met the woman he was going to marry. And then,
Wow.
I know, that's so cute. And then shortly after, in June of 2003, Robert and Kathy wed. And by all accounts, they had a very happy marriage, happy life together. And they moved to Virginia. And you can look at photo 3, Robert and Kathy.
It's so sweet.
I know, yeah. Yep, they look like they're all dressed up for some kind of fancy outing. But they look good together.
Yeah, they're so cute.
In August of 2006, Robert and Kathy lived in Virginia, and they both worked in D.C., so every day they would commute to D.C. together on the metro. When they got off the metro, they would give each other a kiss, goodbye, and then go their separate ways. Robert was very involved in the Asian American community and had volunteered and worked for and with the Organization of Chinese Americans, the Museum of Chinese in America, and the Asian Pacific Bar Association. Robert was driven to give back to the community and make a difference, which led him to his next career shift. In June of 2006, Robert, now 32 years old, decided to quit working in real estate law for Covington and Burling and to begin working for an organization called Radio Free Asia. Radio Free Asia is a nonprofit news organization funded by the U.S. government that provides uncensored media to countries that experience restricted news coverage, such as China, North Korea, and Vietnam. On August 2nd, 2006, Robert had an especially late night working at Radio Free Asia because he was going to meet the night crew. Robert took the metro to the city with Kathy as usual, and they shared a goodbye kiss that they didn't know would be their last.
That's like the thing I never want to think of ever.
I know.
Wow. Because
Yeah.
it could be anyone's last. Nope. Can't.
And it also
Sorry.
is so sweet that every day they do kiss each other after because you never know.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a big rule in my house. We always say I love you. We always give kisses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I agree.
Instead of commuting home and keeping Kathy up late, Robert arranged to stay at his long-standing friend's home, Joe Price. Joe lived in a townhouse in DuPont Circle with his partner and 2 roommates. Joe and Robert had remained friends since they met at William and Mary and were pretty close. Joe had even thrown Robert a surprise party for his 30th birthday, and you guys can look at photo 3B. So Joe is his longtime friend. He's the one in the blue shirt in the photo. Robert's blowing out the candles. And then you also see Dylan Ward and Victor is in the green shirt holding the cake. And then Dylan Ward is in the white shirt holding the other cake. I guess he got 2 cakes.
Yeah.
And all of these people come into play because they all live in this house.
And they were roommates.
And they were
Yes.
roommates.
Well, Joe and Victor are partners. And then, yeah, Dylan's a roommate. Yeah. Before Robert met the night crew at 9:30, he called Kathy from work. As they were hanging up, Robert says to her, "I love you." And those were the last words that Kathy ever heard her husband say. So, again, just, it's good that they did that, I guess. But it's so, like, bittersweet and tragic.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like he's just at a friend's house, right?
Who he's known forever. Yeah. Well, he's at work still, but, you know, he's, heading to the friend's house.
Okay.
So Robert met the night crew at 9:40 and then called Joe and got in a cab to head to Joe's around 10:20. Robert makes it to Joe's at approximately 10:30. Joe Price lived with his partner, Victor Zaborski, and they had 2 roommates, Dylan Ward and another roommate, Sarah. Sarah's room was in the basement, and she was at a friend's house this night and told her roommates that she may come home, but she may end up just crashing at her friend's house, which is pretty common for her as well. The house was a 3-story townhome, and it was actually a row house. Do you guys know what those are?
Right. Just like a string of townhomes, kind of, right?
Yeah, that are like wall to wall with each other. There's no like in between. And you guys can look at photo 4 and 5, which has the outside of the house and then the layout of the inside of the house.
And this is in New York?
This is in DC.
Oh.
He did grow up in New York, and then he moved to Virginia when he met Kathy. Or he may have been working in DC. He was probably working in DC before meeting Kathy, but him and Kathy moved to Virginia. Okay, so there was a basement on the lower level, which you guys can see in the layout of the house, where Sarah's room was. On the first floor, there was a kitchen, a front door, and a back door, and like this little living space. The front door, as soon as you walk in, there's stairs that lead up to the second landing, or the second floor. The second you're on the landing of the second floor, you're facing Dylan's room. And then you can make a 180 and walk down the hallway, and then there's the guest bedroom. And then if you're standing with your back to the guest bedroom, you're looking up another flight of stairs that goes up to the 3rd floor of the house. And that's where Joe and Victor's room was. So at 10:49 p.m., a 911 call is made by Victor Zaborski.
DC Emergency 911 operator 6752. Do you need police, fire, or ambulance? What's wrong, ma'am?
We had someone that was in our house, evidently, and they stabbed somebody.
Okay, somebody's inside the house now?
I don't know, we heard
Are they bleeding? You see someone bleeding?
someone is bleeding in our house.
Okay, where's they bleeding from?
I think in the stomach.
In the stomach, is he conscious? Calm down for me. I'm gonna send some help, okay? Female or male?
It's a male. He's a friend of ours. He was spending the night with us.
Okay, and who was the person that stabbed him? Do you know? Is he conscious?
We need an ambulance.
Ma'am, listen to me.
He's not conscious.
He's not conscious at all.
No. We need someone right now.
Is he breathing? Listen to me. Calm down. I'm going to help you, okay? Is he breathing?
I'm upstairs, and she's downstairs. I don't know.
Okay, who's downstairs with him?
My partner is downstairs with me right now. He told me to go upstairs and call the police immediately. I just went to the stairs and...
Okay, who's the person? Okay, I'm sending paramedics and the police. Okay, who's the person that stabbed him?
I don't know. We think it's somebody with an intruder in the house. We heard a chime at the door.
It's 15, ma'am, calm down. 1509 Swan Street, Northwest. Am I correct?
Yes, it is.
The person that stabbed him, is he still in the home?
I don't know.
We got help en route, okay?
Pardon me?
We have help en route.
They're here.
They are en route to you now. Send the police and the paramedics, okay, to assist. Okay, what I need you to do is go downstairs, okay? The place wherever he was stabbed at, I need you to get a dry cloth, okay? And just apply pressure to that area. Okay, just wherever he was stabbed at on his body, I need you to take a towel downstairs while you're waiting for the paramedics to arrive and just apply pressure. Even if the rag or towel is saturated with blood, just get another towel and put it on top of it. Never lift the first towel off the area. Hold it on. Once it gets filled up with blood, just put another towel on top of that and just apply pressure until the paramedics arrive. Yeah.
On the ledge.
Yeah.
Which stab is the heart.
In the heart?
Yes. In the center of the chest.
Okay, is he breathing?
Is he breathing?
We have help en route now, okay? You don't know who it was?
I have no idea, please. Don't get this.
Okay, is he breathing?
Breathing, but we need help now.
Okay, we have help en route, ma'am, okay? We do have help en route. Okay, just go down there and try to tell your husband or your other half to just try to keep him calm and talk to him, okay? Keep him calm and talk to him until someone gets there. And at the same time, get a dry cloth and just hold it right there in the area.
My partner's holding the
Okay,
holding it on it.
okay, and once it gets saturated with blood, tell him get another one. Go get another towel, and you can apply it on top of that one once it gets filled up with blood. We need you to apply pressure on that area.
He is applying pressure, right?
Okay, just hold it in until the paramedics get there. They should be pulling up any moment if they're already en route to your location. You don't know who did this.
We have no idea who did this.
Is the door open so they can get in?
We don't know how they got in.
Okay, well, I'm asking you now, is the door open so the paramedics can get in once they get here?
Sorry. What were you saying?
Is the door open so they can get in? Is the door open so the paramedics can get in the home?
I'm going to go down.
Is this a private home or apartment?
It's a home.
It's a home. That's 1509 Swan Street, Northwest.
The person had one of my knives.
The person that stabbed him ran out the door with a knife?
I think so.
Okay, anybody get any type of description of the person that came in the home?
No idea. We have no description. We heard the chime, and we heard the scream from our friend.
Okay.
And so we came running downstairs. We ran in.
So you both was upstairs and your friend was downstairs?
Yes.
You heard the door open and then you heard the scream?
I didn't hear the door open until after the scream, and then we ran down the stairs and we heard we have an alarm, and so the chime went off.
Okay.
The ambulance, please, we really need the ambulance.
Okay, they in route now, ma'am. Go to the door. They should be pulling up any moment, okay?
I'm afraid to go downstairs.
Okay, the person who's downstairs was the person that was assaulted.
No, we're on the second floor.
Okay, so somebody need to go and just open the door for the paramedics. You're not sure if that person's still in the home or
I
not.
have no idea.
Okay, we have paramedics en route, okay?
What time is it?
What time is it at the moment? 23:54. It's 11:54, ma'am.
54.
Yes.
I mean,
I'll stay on the line with you. I will stay on the line until somebody gets here, okay? I won't hang up.
we need them right now. I'm not hanging up, but we need help now.
Okay, they en route, ma'am. They are en route. Let me know Joe, when you hear the paramedics, can you look out the window and see if you hear them coming?
I'm looking out the window and I see nothing. I see nobody.
Okay, it seems like forever, but they are en route, man. They're coming.
Here they are. Here they are.
They're there.
I'm going downstairs.
Okay. I'll stand in line with you till you open the door for the paramedics, okay?
Help us. We have someone is shot. They're on our second floor.
Ma'am.
Yes, it's really an emergency. I mean, he's hurting.
So on the call, Victor reported an intruder had broken in and stabbed their friend Robert. He says a friend staying at their house is bleeding currently and that he doesn't know who did it or if the person who stabbed Robert is still in the house. What are your guys' thoughts after hearing the 911 call?
He said he only heard someone after the stab leave the house, right?
He did. Yeah.
And it was like who was there? It was the couple, their one roommate and Robert.
Yeah.
And then the one who lived in the basement was out.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't sound like anyone came in.
Oh, because he only heard the chime once. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he sounds very emotional. So I think, like, he definitely seems like he's in shock.
It just seems like an odd thing to just randomly stab somebody.
Right.
But everybody was, like, in bed at the time.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so, yeah, it was just Robert, Robert, Dylan, Joe, and Victor in the home. But what you said was interesting, Sam. You said it's kind of weird for someone just to come in and stab someone, right?
Right, just randomly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's giving Idaho 4 kind of, too, with, like,
Ooh.
the intention of, like, one person or, like, a specific people and not everybody. It wasn't like a case
good
of
point.
I'm going to kill everyone in the house thing.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about this like in relation to that case. But yeah, that's my thoughts are, if you're looking at it critically, the use of the word intruder is a little odd right off the bat. Usually you'd think someone would be like, someone broke into my house. But also not the craziest thing, I don't think. It's interesting that Victor says to the 911 operator that Joe told him to go up and call the police immediately as well. I don't know. I don't feel like I would say that. Like, he immediately told me to go up and call the cops. I would just say I went up and called the cops. Mm-hmm. He does mention the chime, and that's just interesting because it comes up a lot, the chime. Victor, so that'll like kind of tie in a bit better as we go. Victor is very emotional on the 911 call. It's interesting that Victor says at this point that he doesn't know how the intruder got in. Victor mentions that the person had one of their knives too. And it sounded like the 911 operator was like, did you say he ran out of your house with the knife?
That's when she started clarifying like where the chime happened. And he was like, after the scream.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So Victor met the EMTs at the door, which we heard on the call, and he was wearing a white bathrobe at the time. When EMT Jeff Baker reached the second floor landing, he ran into Dylan, also in his bathrobe. EMTs asked Dylan what's going on. They lock eyes, and then Dylan just went into his bedroom and closed the door. A little odd. The EMT Jeff Baker then approaches the guest bedroom where Joe was in his underwear sitting with Robert. Jeff Baker is a seasoned EMT. He's been doing this for years. He said that the scene felt off and made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. When he went into the room, he intentionally walked all the way around the bed into the far side of the room so that he could see Joe and kind of like visually give him an ocular pat down, I think someone from It's Always Sunny said that, sorry. But to make sure that he doesn't have any weapons on him because the whole thing just felt off to him. So Robert was laying on the guest bed, which was a pull-out couch. He was unresponsive and had 3 large stab wounds to his abdomen. He appeared to have been stabbed through the gray shirt that he was wearing. Something that immediately stood out to EMTs was the lack of blood for someone who had been stabbed 3 times. EMT said it was almost as if Robert had been stabbed, showered, redressed, and then placed in the bed. They did notice some blood on his chest, but there was no blood flowing out of Robert's wounds, and the blood that was on his chest had striations on it, almost as if it had been smeared there with like a cloth or something. There was no signs of life when the EMTs arrived. Robert was rushed to the hospital. In the ambulance, EMTs noticed that the stab wounds in Robert's chest appeared similar to surgical incisions. Despite medical interventions, Robert Wone was pronounced dead at the hospital at 12:25 a.m. with no heart rate or pulse.
Weird that they pronounced him dead at the hospital.
I think that does happen often. Like they try to do life-saving measures
I guess, yeah.
as they go, and I know that Joe later says too that like Robert had made a moan at one point, and like Victor even says on the 911 call that he is breathing. So I don't know if it was like so close that I don't know. Maybe they wanted to give it more time.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Joe called Kathy, Robert's wife, and tells her that he can't believe he's calling her to tell her this, but she has to go to the hospital right away. I'm not sure if it was because he wasn't sure yet himself, but he didn't mention that Robert was dead, so she didn't find that out until she actually got to the hospital. The 3 tenants are told to go sit on the couch downstairs while police begin their investigations. During this time, in the presence of police, the men are talking about what they think happened. One of the men mentions that they noticed the deadbolt on the back door wasn't locked, and then Joe notices that the door actually was slightly ajar. The men decide they believe that's how the intruder got into the home. They also knew that the back gate was still deadbolted that led to their backyard patio area, so they assumed that the intruder must have jumped the fence to get into the back door and then would have had to jump it again to get out if the gate is still deadbolted. The men are then brought to the police station for questioning. So let's talk about the crime scene a little bit. As mentioned earlier, there was a small amount of blood for what EMTs and detectives would expect for 3 large stab wounds. There was a little bit of blood on Robert's chest and shirt, and there was 2 small pools of blood on the pull-out bed that Robert was sleeping in. There was also a towel with some blood on it, which was the towel that Joe was holding to Robert's chest, and Joe was applying pressure to Robert's wounds with. There was also some blood on the knife that was next to the bedside table. And you guys can look at photos 8, 9, and 10, which are photos of the bed, towel, and the knife.
What I first noticed, especially about the fence, is that's a tall fence. That's like 10 feet tall.
It's 7, yep.
That's a big fence. And then from my knowledge of blood splatter from every season I've seen of Dexter, that is not enough blood.
Right, like the bed
Yeah.
and the sheet. That's weird. For sure.
Yeah, it just
Like
seems
that
like
looks
a very...
like someone got like cut on like, something small and
like you were
trying to,
cutting
like-
veggies and like
Yeah,
clipped
cut your
the end of your
hand.
finger. Yeah.
Right.
It is a weirdly small amount of blood for sure. And then the towel too that he was holding to Robert's wounds. You know, I mean,
Well,
the 911 operators, like if it gets saturated, like don't take it off,
Yeah.
put another towel on. And it's like, that's
And
not
if
getting
he's bleeding
saturated.
out. So
Well, and also with stabbing, and once again, this is literally just my knowledge from Dexter, but there's like the splatter from the act of stabbing. So there's usually at least small droplets on like the wall or the ceiling.
the floor,
The floor.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a
Yeah.
liquid substance, and yeah, if you're bleeding out enough to die, that's not enough blood loss.
Right. And if they're actively bleeding out on the phone, where are
Right.
all of those blankies and towels and things like that? So
It was just that one. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yep. Well, buckle in because it just gets weirder.
Okay.
Yikes.
So, nothing in the home was out of place, nothing was stolen. The steps leading up to the second floor were also creaky. There were wooden steps and made a fair amount of noise. The investigators were weirded out that they didn't hear anyone running up and down the creaky stairs. Some other things about the crime scene: Robert's clothes were neatly folded at the foot of his bed. The blanket he was lying on, which is in that picture, had a perfect crease in it, and he was just on top of the blankets. The pillow was at the head of the bed with a perfect head indention on it, and the room was totally in place. His wallet was still there. He had a BlackBerry. I think he had 2 wallets and like a really nice watch that was at the foot of his bed on a table, and all of that was there.
Oh my gosh. This is so weird. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
No, dude, this one is gonna stick with me like more Murray, I feel like. Like, and I've been researching only this for like 2 weeks now, and there's so much I still like haven't gotten into. There's like whole websites like dedicated to this that I've like just barely scraped the surface on. There's all these like, I looked at the most like pertinent interviews and stuff, but there's still like quite a few that I haven't seen. It's just, I feel like I'm gonna be stuck on this for a while.
Dude, for sure. Yeah. Wow.
The men were all brought to the police station for questioning. They were all separated and brought into separate rooms for their interviews. All 3 men's stories are very consistent and align perfectly with each other. Their story, pretty much from the beginning of the events to the 911 call, is that Joe Price says he heard a chime that the alarm system makes when the doors open, but the alarm system isn't set. And they said they would sometimes set the alarm system when they weren't home, but they never set it when they were home because it had like motion sensors and everything. And they also just assumed we're home, what could happen? So Joe says when he heard the chime, he assumed it was Sarah coming home because she said maybe she would be coming home. And he rolled back over to go to sleep. He says he isn't sure how much time passed, but it wasn't long enough for him to have fallen back asleep. He thinks maybe a couple of minutes, and then he and Victor both heard some kind of grunts or like breathy yells. Joe and Victor got up from the bed and go down the stairs to the second floor. Victor says he heard a chime for the door as well as they were running down the stairs, which is what we heard on the 911 call, what he's mentioning. Once they reach the landing of the second floor, they're directly facing the room where Robert was sleeping, and they see the door open, and they find their friend in the guest room having been stabbed. Victor screamed loudly and became hysterical. Joe grabbed Victor by the shoulders and told him to go upstairs and call 911, and Joe stayed on the second floor with Robert. Joe says there was a knife lying on Robert's chest, and Joe moved it to the table next to the pull-out couch. He then checks Robert's wrists and neck for a pulse and pulled Robert's shirt up and says he saw a lot of blood. Joe said he even considered administering CPR, but Victor had come down at that point with the towel, saying that he needed to apply pressure, which he was getting direction from the 911 operator. Dylan also comes out of his room around this time in his bathrobe, sometime while Victor and Joe are performing the life-saving measures for Robert. It's actually only Joe, sometime while Joe is performing the life-saving measures for Robert. It's important to note that Dylan does take sleeping medication. So he says that he went into his room. So earlier in the night, they had showed Robert where the guest bedroom was, the bathroom, and right after that, Dylan went into his room. And then Dylan says he read a book for a little bit. He heard Robert take a shower, leave the bathroom, and then he heard what he thought was the door closing to the guest bedroom and Robert probably going to sleep. And he said he only read for about 5 or 10 minutes before going to bed. Dylan says he does remember hearing some kind of grunting or breathy yell, but it didn't quite rouse him from his sleep. He says he woke up once he heard all the commotion from Victor and Joe. He was scared and stayed in his room for a short amount of time before grabbing his bathrobe and coming out to see what was going on. When he saw Robert had been stabbed, he was in shock and sat down on the couch. All 3 men provided the story to detectives that there must have been an intruder who must have jumped the fence and come through the unlocked door. The men believed this had to be what happened because of the chimes that they heard. Police very quickly doubted the intruder theory. Police say they went out back with flashlights and there were cobwebs at the top of the fence that weren't disturbed. There was no dirt or pollen that had been disturbed in areas where you would think someone would jump over the fence and where they'd be landing into the dirt. And it would have been difficult to get over a 7-foot fence.
I am just hung up on the scene of the crime and how little blood there is.
Yeah.
For someone to be stabbed to death. And that's it.
That's not lining up for me either. That's like the thing I keep going back to. And then also the fact, like, I understand being on sleeping medication, but he's on the same floor as the room.
Right. It does. Yeah. That feels odd, doesn't it?
Yeah, because if you remember hearing the shower and the door closing, this didn't happen that long after.
Right.
That was like as he was falling asleep. So he was still awake then. But yeah.
So he says.
Yeah, falling asleep.
Exactly. Right. Yep.
Also, you said they found Robert with the knife, or they said they found Robert with the knife on him?
Yeah.
Like the murderer
Like on his
stabbed him
chest.
and then laid the knife on his chest?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Joe
would
does
you
say
leave the
in
weapon
his-
at the scene of the crime?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe does say in his interview, he's like, I don't know, I think it was on his chest. I just moved it. I was in shock. But yeah, why would you leave it?
And I feel like stabbing, I don't know. I've never stabbed anybody, but it's like, I feel like it's a lot harder that it's not just simply, you have to do some effort, like, and just to lay it there and then everything to be neat.
Right. Isn't that bizarre?
I don't know.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
bizarre.
The cleanliness of it all is...
It's disturbing. Joe Price was a lawyer. His partner, Victor Zavorsky, worked for the International Dairy Association. He was actually, like, involved with the Got Milk campaign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was in marketing. And then Dylan Ward had held a number of different career roles, including being a massage therapist, among other roles. It's important to understand the dynamic of the men who lived in the row house together as it comes into play during the investigation. It's determined that the three men were in a polyamorous relationship. Victor and Joe were spouses, and then Dylan wasn't, like, involved on an equal level, but he was still involved. And when officers asked Victor during his interview if Dylan had an equal partnership with he and Joe, Victor responded no, but they're trying to work towards that. Victor told investigators that they're a family and all three men had been living together for years at this point. Unfortunately, there was some immediate bias towards the men due to their sexual orientation. Investigators were asking them questions like, was Robert secretly gay? And why would a straight man want to stay in a house with three men who he knows is gay who are involved with each other if he wasn't gay or, like, gay curious? They also were asking Joe why he would have stayed in close contact with Robert if he didn't have feelings for him, and vice versa, which is just absolutely preposterous.
Yeah.
Like, Joe was like, I'm actually offended by that, but also, like, what do you mean? Like, don't you have friends? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, there was this, like, immediate bias towards the three men because they were gay, and, like, asking about Robert's sexuality and pretty much if they had, like, sexual motives to harm Robert, and if Robert was maybe bi-curious or gay-curious. And I'll also add here that Robert's devices were all searched, his phone, his computer, and there was no reason whatsoever to believe that Robert was closeted or hiding that he was curious about his homosexuality at all. He seemed very happily married and just a very straight guy. So investigators were pushing to see if there was some kind of sexual motivation on Robert's or any of the roommates' parts to want Robert to stay overnight because they just couldn't grasp why a friend would just stay at another friend's house if those friends were gay.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
And it's 2006. Like, isn't gay marriage legal yet? Maybe not, actually.
I think it was at this point because
No,
I know
2006 wasn't Obama yet. We were still under Bush.
Oh, he was fighting for it, Joe, because he was a lawyer and he was, like, at the head and in DC, like, fighting for that, I know.
Nice.
So he was like really respected in the game. The men were voluntarily partaking in interviews with the cops because they weren't under arrest and they didn't have to speak with police at that time. And they certainly didn't have to without a lawyer. And Joe, a lawyer himself, was very aware of that. And, you know, they still all agreed to do these interviews. During the interviews with the men, police exclusively asked questions exploring the possibility of any of the three men harming Robert and not exploring any other possibilities. All three men insisted there was no sexual motivation on anyone's part and that Robert was very straight. And apart from no sexual motivation, all three men persisted that there would have been no motive at all for any of them to want to hurt Robert. While Joe was long-term friends with Robert, both Victor and Dylan were more of acquaintances with him through Joe, but neither of them were really close to Robert. According to the men's interviews, Robert arrived at 10:30. Dylan was already in bed when he heard the doorbell, and Dylan ended up getting up because no one else was going to get the door, and he let Robert in. Joe ended up hearing the chime of Dylan letting Robert in and went downstairs to meet Dylan. Both Joe and Dylan stood around the sink and had some water. They chit-chatted for about 10 minutes, all small talk, like, how's your wife doing? How's the job going? Victor stayed upstairs during this because he had just earlier that day gotten home from a work trip and he was already in bed and just didn't feel like coming downstairs. Joe and Dylan led Robert upstairs and showed him where his bed was. Robert said he wanted to shower, so they showed him where the bathroom was so he could shower. And then from the bathroom, it's right next to Dylan's room. So Dylan went into his room where he started reading, and then Joe went upstairs to catch the last few minutes of Project Runway with Victor. Project Runway ended at 11 p.m. After Project Runway ended, Victor rolled over and went to sleep. Joe flipped through the channels for a few more minutes, then turned the TV off and went to bed as well. The next thing Joe and Victor remember hearing is the chime and then running downstairs. Dylan was given a polygraph test after his interview and failed 2 questions that were asked of him. Did you kill Robert? And do you know who killed Robert?
Oof.
Yeah, granted, those don't hold up in court for a reason.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
And
It's a pretty scary question to be asked, so I imagine heart rate.
and to me, right, it would be different if like he was asked other questions as well that he passed and then failed those.
Yeah.
But still a scary question to be asked, even just that one. But yeah, those are, I believe, the only 2 questions he was asked, and he failed
Right.
both of them.
Yeah, that's definitely like such a scary position. I mean, like assuming innocence in that situation, like the idea of being pinned for something that you're innocent of doing is like that's my biggest fear.
For
And like not
sure.
being able to like defend yourself or like get yourself out of it. Oh my God, this is a nightmare.
Right, right.
And the cops were very clearly, like, during those interviews, like, pretty tunnel visioned on it's one of you guys. So
Sure, yeah.
he took the polygraph test after that, you know, so I'm sure he's pretty freaked.
Already elevated.
I don't know. Right. Joe and Victor both get to a point where they decide to end the interview because they're not under arrest and free to go. And they were in there for hours. And there would be times when the officers would leave. They're like, I'll be right back. They leave and wouldn't come back for like 40 minutes to an hour and a half. So they were in there throughout the entire night. I don't think they left the police station until the next morning. So it's not like they did like 5 minutes and were like, I'm done. Joe did seem more agitated during his interview than the other 2 and had an air of arrogance about him. He also wasn't super emotional. None of the men seemed super emotional during their interviews, but again, Joe was closer to Robert, so you'd expect him to be a little more upset. But also no sleep and in shock, so it's hard to judge people's reactions during times like that. Here's another strange piece to this case, as if there's not enough already. So they left the police station. Joe comes back the next day. Now he says that he needs to change his story because he initially told them that the knife was laying on Robert's chest and he moved it to the nightstand. Now he's telling them that he was wrong and it was actually sticking out of Robert's chest and he pulled it out of Robert's chest. So that's interesting.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
I don't think you can change your story. Not
And
from
like,
like
why?
moments after the situation happened and then like what, weeks later?
This is the next day.
Oh, I think you
Yeah.
to pull something that is lodged inside a human body, especially like a chest plate
I
or
don't
a
think you
rib
could get it.
cage, is like you would know, I feel, that you did that instead of
Yeah.
just picking it up.
I feel like you would know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be very
it's like a
burned
ugh,
into your memory
I
if you did
imagine.
that.
And during the hours of questioning that you've just gone under, and
Right.
they've been pressing you over
A
and over,
lot of
are you
time.
sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Right.
And then you come back the next day. That's just like, that is odd. It's
It is
odd.
odd. And
Yeah.
also, like, why? Because you were the only one there. Like,
Yeah, why would you
what's the,
touch anything? Also,
why
just so
even
you guys
change
know,
it?
if anything's ever lodged in somebody, leave it.
That's what I was thinking too, because
You
it's
could do
gonna
more
bleed
damage on
more.
the way out. Let a
Right.
professional remove it.
And maybe
Grey's
it's keeping all
Anatomy
the blood
style.
in there. Joe also specifies that other than the shirt and the knife, he doesn't think he touched anything else in the room. So just interesting that he's kind of laying out where his fingerprints are going to be or where his DNA might be. Is he changing the story because he's in shock? Because he's afraid of a wrongful conviction based on the questions the officers were giving him the night before? Or because he's trying to protect someone? Maybe himself. Also, on that note, something that did stand out to me while watching the interview footage, and I watched all the hours of this, is that initially when Joe is telling officers that he put the knife on the nightstand and it was laying on Robert's chest and he put it on the nightstand, officers tell him that if that's all you did, your prints aren't going to be on the knife. And I'm not sure if that's true or if it's an interrogation tactic to maybe get him to confess to something. But I will say, if he did have something to do with it and he actually did stab Robert and he knew his prints were going to be on the knife, then maybe he went back to say, oh, I actually didn't just grab it. I pulled it out of his chest because
Wow.
it would make more sense why his prints would be on it or his DNA.
Now, it's also interesting because didn't you say that they said it was their knife also?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I had my car stolen when I was like 18, and I knew who stole it, and I was like, this person stole it. I was like, you could do fingerprints in my car, anything. And the investigator told me that when you fingerprint things, he asked me, he's like, has this person ever had permission to be in your car? And I was like, yeah, I've driven them around before. And so what he told me is if that person has ever, like, with your permission, been in that house, been in your car, or lives in that house, their fingerprints are already assumed on
Good point.
everything.
Oh, good point.
So
Yeah.
I do think it was a tactic. And it's interesting that like, as a lawyer, I feel like he also knew that and he's maybe manipulating that a little. That's suspicious to me because that seems like common knowledge in that realm that they probably.
He's not a criminal lawyer. He's in like cyber, like
That's true.
trademark stuff. But it's certainly it feels suspicious.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they like ultimately are going to presume that if you live in that house, you've probably touched things in that house,
Right.
especially if it was the knife already. So it's interesting that they're trying to get an idea of like where he thinks his fingerprints might be.
Right. Oh, you're saying so it was a tactic from the police. Oh, that's true. Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's really.
Well, that's where we can end part one. Typical Tori fashion, she dove too deep. And we're going to have a two-parter on this one. We'll definitely get more into like the autopsy results and trials and stuff in the next episode.
Autopsy results. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to like literally do my best to not research anything until we meet again.
Are you going to join us for the next one?
You're,
I could probably,
That'd be awesome.
if
Cool.
we can figure it out, I'd love to because I need to know more.
I'm sure. I'm sure we can figure it out. I'm sure.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
really
exciting.
fun.
Yeah.
Well,
what a case.
should we switch? I know. Isn't it crazy?
Wow.
It's like my brain hurts. And it just is like baffling. It's all baffling.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've hyper fixated on true crime for so long, like a majority of my like young adult and adult life, and the last like I would say like 8 to 10 years, I haven't like dove in too much. Like I feel like I
mhm.
for my mental health. I was like, let's
That's fair.
not be stressed out. But like it's so interesting, like when I do like find things, like diving back in, and it's just all so fascinating. It's all so fascinating.
It
Hmm.
is. It's
It's
like
like a morbid
exposure
curiosity.
therapy. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
I need it. I don't know.
yeah, I think I initially got into true crime too because I wanted to learn how to not get murdered. I think was a lot of it for me, as I
Yes.
was
I've
like,
learned so much.
Having the anxiety already, it's like, well, now I know what situations to not be in,
Hmm.
right.
Exactly.
even though, as we know,
As we know.
But then, like, I don't know, I came across cases like Maura Murray, and like, some of these cases were just so, I don't know, like, they really sucked me in. I hate saying that. I say that a lot, sucked me in. It just sounds like a vulgar term for some
no, I mean,
reason.
they are really, it's interesting. Well,
Hmm.
because to prove something in court, it's interesting when you watch like the court cases, like Aaron's
Hmm.
mom was helping us with the kids for a couple months. We would watch like court TV a lot. And so like there was a lot of situations where I feel like I was like learning about all of these recent court cases. Like it was kind of like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it was in the middle of some big ones. And like when it gets to court, like when it gets to like the law of it all, it's so they need so much detail that it's so important in these crime scenes to gather
Yep.
correct details.
Yes. And to
Because
explore
something, I
every
mean, I
avenue.
feel like even with the Utah case with
Yeah.
the four
Yeah.
kids, right? Like there with all the information that we've had for the past like 2 3 years or however long it's been, we assumed everything happened in a specific way. And now that the case is over and things are being released, these small details and facts have changed almost like the entire perspective we had of what actually happened that night. And it's just like the most minor details, like the DoorDash person
Right.
actually being there. And like, yeah. So it's, I mean, it's
Yeah.
all, there's so many important things that like you need to use to build the story of what happened.
Yep. Yep. And you have to look at it without deciding what happened. You have to look at it from a perspective of wherever this leads me, it leads me. But like I'm going to go
Hmm.
down every path until it's exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we could
So
switch to something happier.
the happy stuff. Wow. You give us our transition show.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah. Should we real quick run through our rating and try and see if we still feel the same?
Oh my
I think
gosh.
we could do that.
Okay, so where we stand right now for the Life of a Showgirl rankings, we have Honey in 12, Wishlist in 11, Father Figure in 10, Wood in 9, Ruin the Friendship in 8, Eldest Daughter in 7, Elizabeth Taylor in 6, The Fate of Ophelia in 5, Canceled in 4th, Actually Romantic in 3rd, The Life of a Showgirl in 2nd, and Opalite in 1st.
You're gonna hate
Wow.
mine still.
Might have changed for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine are holding pretty steady, but they are different from this list.
I would say Ruin the
Okay.
Friendship might be in my top three.
I hate
Oh.
that song.
Dude, I
I
love
not
it.
hate. Okay, sorry. The album is literally no skips. I do not hate it. But like in context of the album, it's just it broke my heart.
I think it's where it belongs,
I
personally.
I l-
Where do
I
you
love
have
it.
it?
We have it at 8.
But
So
Wood has gone up, Honey has
Okay,
gone up,
good.
Father Figure has gone up. Canceled is still one of my least favorite
it's
songs.
my lead. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why Father Figure does this to me when I do this quiz because, like, for some reason, Father Figure always falls so low. Okay. So mine is starting at the bottom, Father Figure, Ruin the Friendship, Canceled, Elizabeth Taylor. I'm just kind of not bopping to it as much these
You're
days.
killing me.
The life of a showgirl has actually gone up exponentially. It's sitting at 7
My
for me.
girl. I'm just kidding. We don't. It's sitting at
I'm
what?
sorry.
7. It was my Tori. It was my 12. You know this.
7's okay. Okay, it's gone
I
up.
think
It's gone
kind
up.
of my
also.
12 right now.
Yeah, I feel like I want to switch father figure and actually romantic. I have actually romantic at 5. My number 1 and 2, Opalite and Wishlist. I just love them.
I love and hate that.
I can't help that Taylor wrote about like my life specifically.
I know. I
Number
figured
3
that's
is
why you
Eldest
like it.
Daughter. So if that just kind of gives you the context of where I'm at emotionally with this album.
Okay. Okay.
It's not that I don't like The Life of a Showgirl, Tori.
It has everything. If you were
It's
to put
good.
on paper, you like write out, good storytelling, good vocals, good instrumentals, good. If you were to write all it checks every box.
I
You know
feel
what?
like
We're
when I
making
get
a
the music
criteria next
video-
album.
I feel like when I get the music video, it's going to be like so much more boppy for me. Because that's how the Fate of Ophelia also was. I got the music video and I was like, yeah.
The music video did make me like it a lot more, I think. Yeah. And I already liked it, but
Yeah, like I
definitely
said, no skips. I like every song.
Same. And I actually have never had a no skip album from Taylor Swift. Granted, the last one was like 2 skips and there were 31 songs. So like,
Valid.
Tortured Poets Department was almost no skips for me though, which is
Same.
crazy. Yeah.
Right.
and the ones I skipped, it wasn't because I didn't really like that song. It was more so because I wanted to get to other songs quicker.
And that's kind of how I feel like with The Life of a Showgirl. I just feel like I'm bopping to different songs at different times. So I'm getting like a nice rotation going, except for, well, no, like I said, Life of a Showgirl is up.
It's gone up.
So-
It's gone up. We're happy. Where's Wood at for you?
Wood is sitting at 6.
Okay. I'll take that.
That's okay.
After I
It's
saw
really boppy.
Taylor
I like
bop
it.
to it at that interview, I'm like, okay, I'm down with this.
And I think when I saw Taylor do like father figure, and she's like, "You're loyalty."
Guilty.
I would love to see Ariana Grande featured on the remix of Canceled when she makes that a music video. I think it'll move Canceled up for me.
Right.
I think it's like smaller infractions that
I
people like the
like-
Sophie Turner stuff.
Or
I'm
I
sure-
like someone
yes,
compared
exactly.
it to Sabrina Carpenter during
Yes.
her emails like
She's-
didn't send era, where she was like being canceled over like boys, right?
That album
Or
is so good.
when she
I know
says
Tori's
like,
probably
did you
so torn
make
between
a
the Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter beef.
I love them both.
right? But she
know.
never actually sued her, so it's different.
Right.
And
Yeah.
also, like, when she says, did you make a joke that only a man could? That's definitely, I feel like, Sabrina Carpenter coded. And it's so true. Like, I don't know. But
It's got such
I
an
don't know
interesting
why.
sound is why I like that one. But I will say if we're doing a criteria, it doesn't check all the boxes for sure.
Yeah. I feel
it's
like-
just something about the sound I really like of it. That like part where it gets dark and yeah.
yeah.
It's very Reputation. I feel the same way about Actually Romantic. It has this like 90s rock vibe to it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
really, that's what like saves that song for me, because I'm kind of like over it lyrically, but like every time I get to the bridge, I'm like, ugh, it's so good.
So high school is the same with that 90s riff.
Yes,
Dun, dun, dun,
exactly.
dun, dun. Yeah, I love it. I'm like, fuck me up. I love it.
I can't wait for the movie or the docu-series.
Oh my god, we haven't even talked about it. Yeah.
You got
A
it.
six-
So
part-
excited.
A 6-part
It's coming out the day
okay.
before Taylor's birthday.
And
Right,
we
we just-
pretty much get Era's tour again.
Yeah, okay, but look, I am still very bitter that she has never given LA its post, and I just like really thought we would get it.
What is the reason?
What is
Yeah,
the reason?
it is
Because
strange.
that was
I think-
our show, and we
Sam,
never
I think
got
you
a
should just call Taylor up and say you're sorry.
I'm upset. I'm upset. And did you also see the new things?
The new
Did you see
Spanx?
them?
Who has straight pubes? And I don't mean that offensively. Like, if you guys have straight pubes, that's fine. I just have never seen straight
Not
pubes.
me.
I have yet to see them. Are the Spanx have pubes too? It's not just the thong.
No, it's just that thong. Is that what you're
Oh,
talking about,
okay.
Tim?
The thong with the pubes.
The
But
skims,
they're not
yeah.
straight, are they?
One
They're
of them is
straight?
the red one.
They kinda
Oh, I
look
didn't know
like
there's
it.
different colors.
Many
Yeah, it all.
colors.
I feel like
My friend sent the red one to the group chat, and she was like, "Whose bush is this?" And my other friend goes, "Elmo," and then she goes, "The the dad from Brave."
Oh my god, the dad from Brave?
Yeah, so if you guys clip that, we have
Diabolical.
to give credit to Stephanie because that was so good. Shout out
Oh
Stephanie.
my god. That is so
um
funny. I needed
I
that today. Whew.
I do feel like she took a note out of Kanye's book of just like doing like absurd things and somehow it works out. Cuz they sold
Sold out
out.
within like an hour.
Yeah.
How is this even getting the time of day?
Who bought that?
First of all,
Yeah.
I'm not buying any thongs at all anymore. I'm a granny's pro ever since I stopped dating anyone.
I like
Granny
a
panties
cheeky,
all
a
day.
cheeky
Look,
bit.
I'm a
I
cheeky
used
girl.
to.
I also love
A
a
nice
high
cheeky.
waisted control tummy. Love it.
The docu-series, I did want to say. So, it's 6 parts, right?
Yeah.
I was really hoping to get like the Eras Tour updated movie with the Torture Poets Department in it.
I think we will though.
No,
so
yeah, I
that's what
think
I'm not
that's separate.
sure.
I
It
feel
is
like
separate.
It's
I think
both
it's
of
separate.
those.
I think we get a docu-series and the new Eras tour.
Yeah. And it's
Did
like
they
the
say that?
two. I think it is like a thing.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you guys.
Because
Yeah.
it's like the updated Eras tour, like the final night, which
And you
would
gotta
imply all of it.
Yes. It has to be the 3
Okay.
hours. And you got to
That's
think
what
the
I'm saying.
docuseries implies like at least an hour per episode minimum.
Right, right.
So they wouldn't do half of the docuseries, the performance.
That's what I was.
Right.
I'm like, I know there's going to be like a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but like,
6
No, I'm
hours.
is
pretty
it
sure
like,
it's like-
do they do like, one era, 2 eras, and then behind the scenes? And then I'm like, what is happening with this?
Oh, kind of like how they did the movie, The
Which
Life of a
movie?
Showgirl.
But no, I am pretty
Oh, right. Yeah.
certain that we are getting Tortured Poets and the updated Eras Tour movie.
Okay.
And I think it's I think it's the full Eras tour, like an updated.
Which
'cause
is
she
actually
took songs
wild that
Separate
it's not
from
in
the
theaters.
docuseries. I know, but maybe it flopped because like none of the one that we went to was so empty.
Ours was dead.
Is it the economy?
Dude,
Or what? It was so
crazy.
strange.
Right. Even just for like a Friday for like all the other movies, or maybe there weren't that many
Right.
movies going on, but
Yeah.
still, it was a Friday night.
6 hours of like just Taylor content behind the scenes.
Dude. And if
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
like actual Eras Tour content in that, it's gonna be just like that's so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Because I want to see more of like, I don't know. I just feel like this sounds so parasocial, but it's just like when you see her as like a real person, it also makes her less of like this like entity. And I feel like during the Eras tour, we didn't get interviews, anything like that. So she like
Right.
became like this icon being that like, I don't know that she loves being all that either. And so like
Right.
it just kind of like humanizes her again.
Right. One of the things, so I like was a huge Swiftie in the very beginning, like debut and Speak Now and Fearless. And then I kind of fell off when she switched genres. I was that asshole.
That's when I fell
And-
off. So
Yeah, because I was a country girly at the time. So like I just didn't
I'll never
listen to
forget
pop.
you playing for her Speak Now for me for the first time. I was like,
We were
yes.
fearless.
So there were still some of her songs that I liked, but I wasn't like as crazy. Like I didn't have the CDs actually, and I wasn't playing Red and stuff in my car all day long like I was debut and stuff. But then I always still kind of liked her, but I just didn't really. I wasn't in tune with like what was going on and stuff. And I think it was like COVID when Miss Americana came out. And like I watched that and I was like, oh my God, I love her again. Like it's just
Yeah.
like so cool getting to see that more like personal side of her. Like you were saying, like not this like, not that she's reachable, but like it's cool to see her just be a girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like I know she's a billionaire and I know that she's reached this like out of touch status, which like I think is undeniable at some point. Like she's just not living the life we live.
Right.
Um, but it does bring her back down a little bit, like in the sense that like you see a day to day, whereas like you don't have this idea that she's just jet setting like constantly and like doesn't care and just eating caviar, like
Right.
spoonfuls of
Like you
caviar
do.
and drinking champagne, you know, like.
Right.
Right, like you have things in common with her. Like I do, I like making cinnamon rolls too.
I
And
went through a sourdough era literally like 2 months ago.
that's why, yeah. Even when she posted that, we got that YouTube short of her making the cinnamon rolls and like in that little lilac skirt that everyone's obsessed with now. Um, Even that was like, oh my God, we never get this kind of content anymore, and it
Yeah.
just felt like a little more relatable for sure.
Yeah.
That's it for tonight's episode of Crimelia Street. You could follow us on Instagram at Crimelia Street or on TikTok at Crimelia ST Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Crimelia Street Podcast, and feel free to send us an email with any thoughts and feedback or episode ideas at crimeliast@gmail.com. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.